And I'm live. Welcome. It's Sunday evening and it's the long weekend. If you're celebrating Easter, a very blessed and happy Easter to you. I'm coming to you live from Cape Town in South Africa. This is Fazila Bizior. If we are not acquainted, I've got some hair in my face. If we're not acquainted, or if you don't know me, as I mentioned, I live in Cape Town, South Africa, and I am an author, a channel, a medium, a healer, a teacher. And I am here on this channel where I teach you to create the reality that you would love to have. But more than that, I work with higher realm beings who I wish to help guide and help them step into their greatness and their potency. Because let's face it, we have not come here with a manual in terms of how we can navigate life. And so it becomes very difficult when you're trying to do this alone or you are doing life and you have all of the stuff that comes at you, even just from a 3D perspective. And then we have all the spiritual, the consciousness stuff, the what can seem like added um, added interest in terms of our journey. I'm having a cup of tea. If you're on here live with me, please say hello. I would love to know who's on here with me. And I'm having an interesting mix. It's a blend of rooibos, and I've put some lavender buds into this tea. Now it's so interesting. I was mixing this. Hi, Justin Allen Hammonds. Hello, Justin. We may not be acquainted, but welcome. Thank you for joining me. I was just saying, South Africa has a unique tea called rooibos, which is an acquired taste. If you don't, Justin, let me know which part of the world you're from. I'd love to know. And we have a few more people hopping on. So while you guys hop on, I was just talking about the smell so fragrant in terms of the lavender, but rooibos has it's a very acquired taste. I'm just going to take a sip of my rooibos and lavender mix. Oh, guys, I wish I could give you guys some of this. Alabama. We have two people from Alabama in the house. Neville O'Clock, my friend. I know she loves tea. It's 7 p.m. in South Africa right now. And so coffee would not be a great choice. And you guys in the PST time zone, Pacific time zone right now, it's probably about 10 a.m. Happy Easter, guys. And yeah, so I was just ruminating about how, so rooibos is an indigenous tea here and it's found in the region. And it has a little bit of a bitter, but very weird taste when you don't really know it. I hope my sound's okay. Just give me a thumbs up, Neville O'Clock, if that's okay. Yeah, and I decided today to put some lavender buds in this, but just a smidgen of it because a teaspoon of lavender, which smells great, can be so bitter and overpowering. And it brings me to today's live, which is navigating through these times. And I realized I've called this live navigating through uncertain times. But guys, one of the things that we get to choose, like this cup of tea, if I didn't like it, should I continue just for the sake of it? If it was really, I made a pot of lavender tea and my husband said, please don't make tea again like this. Hi, P. Well, my dear friend P is over in Texas. And I hope she's having an amazing time in the US. Something I'm feeling very drawn to is to come across, is to visit the US. So we'll be doing that soon, I think. So back to the cup of tea, coffee, whatever it is that floats your boat right now, no judgment, we don't judge. Would you continue to drink it just because you made it? Would you continue to subject yourself to something that isn't feeling good for you? And how often do we do that to ourselves? I was, and I'm going to take a tangent off here. So if you guys are 100% P, we're going to be doing a trip together from different parts. Me in South Africa and you from your place in the UK. I'm going to take a tangent here in terms of the, ooh, okay, this happens to me sometimes. It feels like there was something coming in and I didn't let it land fully. Anyway, a cup of tea or coffee. When we look at what is currently going on around us, how much are we immersing ourselves into the narrative that's going on around us? And it can sound like, but all of the stuff is happening and it is not so great and it is chaotic, etc. Well, I'm going to ask you, what business do you have putting yourself into a narrative that is creating so much maybe discomfort, distraction, discombobulation for you? Because here's the thing. Everything we see around us is actually being seen through the filter of our identity, of all our stuff that we haven't been aware of the stuff that maybe we're aware of, but we're making bigger than it is for us. We're making those things bigger than they should be. Today, I was working through some stuff, and I was also I do a lot of the inner work, and I do a lot of my self-reflection and self-inquiry, and because I'm constantly wanting to actually understand. And Neville O'Clock and I have had this discussion as well. Is if something's happening outside, how much is it going on inside? And at times, this is such a complex aspect of how consciousness works, because everyone, we're each a part. We make up the one, and we are the one. And I say this to many of my clients as well. And recently, it's just to get this it's not a concept. I want you to picture if you were standing on the shores of the ocean and you watch the waves come in, they just roll in. It's not a it's a day where, let's say, the ocean is there's motion, there's movement. It's not still and it's not overly churning. Now, if you watch the waves come in, there are sequences of waves. Now, if one wave, when we think of science and we think of how things work in terms of physics, if there was a single wave missing in terms of the waves that you're watching landing on the ocean, landing on the seashore, what happens? Anyone care to drop a comment? I may have said this to you before, and you're welcome to participate here. If there's a single wave that is missing from the ocean, what happens? I'm going to take a sip of my tea. If a single wave misses, there's no flow, but there's no ocean. Because imagine if each single wave wasn't there. Nope. Because remember, a wave is a wave. Nothing is that wave. And so too, my dear ones, those of you live, and everybody who watches this is going to be live. Oh my gosh. Okay. Psychic humor. You cannot be replaced. The ocean, the entirety of the one is made up of is made up of each single one. But each single one, the you that I'm talking to here, is so important that if you were missing, there is no one. There isn't all that is. If a single wave is missing from the ocean, there is no ocean. Because if each single wave were to disappear, there's nothing. And so you are far more powerful than you realize. Now, today, I got a radical shift in terms of understanding that the responsibility that sits within, not without, not outside of us. If you are having any doubts, any uncertainty, any challenge, I want you to remember this. I haven't even begun to drop this into the consciousness in terms of my clients because this was expanding for me today. It's a memory. That which you are so focused on, a challenge, an emotional eruption, a discord, the news. It is a memory. You are responding from something from the past. And I'm going to give it to you guys straight up because if this is the only chance I ever get to interact with you, there are some people here that I know I will continue to interact with, like Justin. I'm taking this opportunity to give you a new perspective in terms of consciousness, or maybe old, which I would hope then that if you've heard it before, and this applies to us all, if you know it, does your life show it? And the best place to see if your life shows it is to go look at whether your bank account knows it. It was a sobering thought for me, and it called me out on my BS a good couple of years ago. Why? Because we can know something, but a lot of people miss this vital piece in it. They may know about something, or they may know of something, but they don't have a knowing. And the knowing is that this inner work, and I have this week, these past 2 weeks, it's been about this expansion from inner work to the great work that we are here to facilitate and be part of and hold the energy for and contribute. What a time to be alive. What a fucking magnificent time to be alive, guys. More than ever, one person, the one, you are the one that can make the difference to the all. You are the one that all that is, and you are also the uniqueness of what you bring. Now, I said earlier on, and I've been doing like consciousness cartwheels in a good way. I'm moving my keyboard out of my way, which has been about this unfolding within of what do I do? I have this mission and I have this purpose. And by the way, mission and purpose are overrated as well. I've said it before. Your biggest purpose and your mission is that you were born, you were incarnated on earth. You ticked many of the boxes. So now what will you do? Have some tea, drink some coffee, experience the rain. Guys, today I saw a rainbow. We had rainbows out, well, one rainbow out here for about 4 hours. I kid you not. And it's just the rainbow over the mountain. I didn't even take a picture because I couldn't take that entire being and the presence of it just into a picture. And so I welcome the essence of it. There's so much going on around us. What lens are we looking at life through? Is there uncertainty out there with what's going on? What are your thoughts? And by the way, guys, this is not a yes or a no, a right or a wrong. It really is about where we find ourselves and where we can meet ourselves. And like I said, today I've been having this expansion around, well, there is no uncertainty unless I give it meaning. Unless I make it about uncertainty, what memory am I going to? So we're either inspired from the higher consciousness perspective, and I can go into a whole lot more around that, but let's keep it at this level right now. There's either inspiration or we're operating from memory. Now, memory is what is known. And if we are always going back to what is known, there's going to be the fear of stretching out of your comfort zone. There might possibly be all of the challenges. There might possibly be the emotional stuff that comes up. Because we're staying in the known. Now, what can we do to take the next step away from the known into what can be a little bit daunting? And Neville O'Clock says, everything happens to order. No need to concern self. Divine plan is unfolding. All is well. But the divine is within. Inspiration happens from the divine, which is us. And we can choose. We have that wonderful, wonderful capacity, because we are God. We are the creator within, but we choose. Now, there can be a little bit over spiritualization when, yes, there is a divine plan. If all was divine, then why are we incarnated as well on earth? Why are we here? Now, that's the part about waking up. Waking up in terms of creating the heaven from within and projecting and having that become without. And at a certain level, what we must become aware of is, where am I in my level of awareness and consciousness? Now, we are forever expanding. And the divine, from this perspective, is having an experience. And no experience is right or wrong. No experience is good or bad. Again, it's the human that gives the form, the meaning, the identification, the computation, the whole lot of other things and attributes that we are trying to make sense of in the world. And so there are a couple of pieces here. So I'm going to pull the threads together. You being the one that makes this change in your consciousness. When you change it in your consciousness, it changes outside. And so when there is stuff that we are being pulled into, sucked into, and triggered, your job now is to go and look at where is my thinking and my memory, and where have I had this play out before. Now, a lot of these things can happen a bit unconsciously, because remember, the human brain is fascinating in terms of how much it can hold. On the one level, we have the mind, which is it's the body, it's everything, because your cells have memory as well. The human mind can compute and it will store all of your experiences, but it doesn't access everything. And so when we're doing the work of inner transformation, in fact, I'm tending towards letting go of your bag of bricks. I could be a little bit more colorful, but it's all of those things that have been weighing you down. Because the interesting thing about bricks is, well, you could use them to throw it at someone else when you're upset, throw based on your memory, etc., or that experience, and you can elevate yourself and start to build a bridge over the troubled waters. You can build a bridge over the river of experience. After all, we are the ones that recall it. We are the ones that relive it. And so the power that is within you, the power that is within me, is the capacity to keep moving away from that which is not in alignment, becoming aware of our true nature, which is, am I the stressed out, hyperdrive, perfectionist, always striving, always wanting to be overachieving, etc. Or, and by the way, those are some of the things that I chose to move away from. Even being on this live today, I used to over prepare. I used to want to control. I remember I used to be so jittery and nervous. And so how did I overcome it? I'd over prepare. I'd make sure that I could rely on external tools to help me through what was nervousness, uncertainty, anxiety, fear, even guilt and shame. Now, all of those things come up at the same time. And never kind of just think, you're not going to just get one particular flavor of levels of consciousness. That's with the lower harmonics, by the way. So anything below 200, yeah, they kind of come out like a herd of sheep. And they'll go wherever they damn well please. Yes, sheep will follow. They follow a particular way, or they'll follow anything that is keeping them together or herding them together. And that's what happens then with all of these feelings, thoughts, emotions, or frequencies as well. They start to, initially, they can come in from different directions, but then they start to synchronize and harmonize with each other. And so we can feel like there's a lot coming at us. How do you break this? We're just going to look at the time. Does anybody have any questions here right now? Thank you for your contribution. If you have any questions, please go ahead and put it in the chat. So I'll continue. One of the things that we must become aware of is, where am I? Where am I finding myself currently? Which is about the inner observation, the self-observation. And a part that I mentioned earlier on is what memory is being triggered here? What past experience, event, person even is coming up in my experience right now to show me something about what I haven't let go of? And actually, let's just rewind that. It's an experience that I have made very real. What did I make real about this? What belief do I have to have? What meaning do I have to give in order for this to remain real? It's just a memory. And I don't say this lightly, guys. An experience may happen once or twice. Let's go with once. Let's say you have an experience that isn't so great. Now, I want to let you know, I don't make light of this. I have moved away from the identification of being the child who had some experiences when I was younger that a child shouldn't have to have. And it had nothing to do with, I grew up with wonderful parents, etc. But they were experiences that a child of between the age of 6 to 8 should not have to experience. And so there was a time when I had the consciousness to say, no, this will not happen. I know within myself it isn't okay. And so I'm very grateful and appreciative for that in terms of my life. And so I've repeated that experience, that I brought that strength through at times to say, no, this cannot continue. And it takes a moment sometimes to become aware that I'm not in harmony and I'm not in alignment with this particular experience. And therefore, the thoughts and the feelings that come along with it are just habitual. An event may happen once, but we re-traumatize ourselves over and over and over again. Why? Because that energy stays bouncing around in our energy system. Then it becomes fused and wired. Remember, I said the mind is the entire body. We have, when I work with clients, I may find that the solar plexus, I can feel a lot of stuff happening in the solar plexus area. Why? It'll tell me. It's about the fears and anxieties this person has. And so I'm somewhat of a forensic psychic detective. I'll follow the thread and see where this leads to. Now, you don't have to have had a traumatic childhood, by the way, to carry trauma. Why? Because when I work with my clients and I say this to them, when you're a child, a little person, little people have big feelings. And so if you take the example, I'll give you this example of, let's say a baby who's at 3 months of age. Baby's hungry. The two things this child is focused on is food and knowing that mom is around and it's safe. Because the child up until the age of 2 does not see itself any different from the mother. Child sees mom as part of them and they are part of mom. How interesting in terms of how we come into this life. Now, mom may have other kids to take care of as well, and she is late in coming with a bottle of milk for that child. Okay, There's some clearing happening here with whoever it is that needs to hear this. If you're willing to release it, please do. Whatever part of it is, whatever memory it is. Open your heart, just drop into that space and allow it to be released, whatever the story may be. Now, in the case of a 3-month-old baby, there's no learned behavior. It only knows, I don't have a bottle and mom isn't around. And so when the child gets that bottle, hangs on and decides, even at that age, the bottle is important and food is important. And so these are patterns that can play out. And that energy can be a little bit like a frozen, like the iceberg of the subconscious. It is frozen and it's stuck. And so in a lot of the work I do as well is I help my clients. We go and unfreeze these things so that they can uncover their true nature. And so really breaking down the cause and effect. So between stimulus and response, if we can put it another way, in this current time where you're older, there's something that is stimulating that effect of going back into the loop of when that person was younger. And so it requires becoming aware. It requires looking at what the repeated pattern is. It requires looking at where am I playing this out again from memory. And then it requires that we look at what are the feelings that are coming up? What are the emotions? Now, often when we're dealing with something from the past, but it's playing out in the future, it's uncomfortable. Why? Because there's the stack, all of this, let's say the repeats of the memory and the experiences and patterns, etc., that may come along to bring your awareness to it. They kind of stack and they become imprinted, and they can feel very heavy and densified. It's almost like a stamp that's just been used over time. It just keeps pushing into, let's say, piece of wood, or it's being imprinted, like you have a 3D embossing, etc. It's continually creating the same pattern. And it's not impossible to change. We become aware of the lens from which we are operating, the meaning, the belief. You have the emotions, and then you have people who are the messengers, the people who are continually coming up in that experience. They are giving you data. And so gather all of that up. When you become aware, where your focus, where energy flows, where your attention goes. So wherever your focus is, you can shift it. Journal, if you can. There may be an interruption in the feed here, but I'm going to keep going. So journal, write it down, and then make a choice. What would you change? Because if we're reacting from memory, we can stop the cycle and we can decide that is not the version that I want to have going on in my life anymore. And so we change our thoughts, we become aware of our emotions, and we can then also become aware of where we are triggered, and take some time to look at our behaviors and then decide, I want to perpetuate this, but I want this to continue. And there are many tools then available to break the cycle. But the first step, I say this to everyone, your first step in this. Everything else is fixable. Everything else is adjustable. Everything else can be course corrected. I'm just going to check in terms of, I don't have any other comments. How are you guys doing? How's this landing? And by the way, if you're triggered by something, congratulations. See how the edges are feeling. You've met an edge. And you may not have the awareness and consciousness that comes about now. It will come up at some time. Sure. So when I channel at times, I tend to get quite a bit of energy running through. If there was anything in my chat with you guys that I need to go back to, please let me know. But other than that, I'm feeling, today was a very good day. To be a good day. I've been looking at what is my state of being in terms of, so I have this YouTube channel. And by the way, guys, if there's anything that you'd like to look at how to change stuff, look up revision on my channel here. And you'll have a good couple of videos that can help you do that, how to reframe, how to shift your inner state, etc. These lives, I'm actually really, I've stepped into it as a way of my expansion. I've stepped into showing up here in terms of really wanting to do something different. And this is interesting to me. And if anyone's heard this before from me, it's I'm just going to repeat this story. But I heard something interesting the other day. Well, it was a couple of months ago, that they talk about the 10th apple effect. Anyone know the 10th apple effect and what that is about? Well, I'm going to share it. So let's say that you're on a cross-country walk, and you're now hungry and you're a little bit tired, etc. And you happen to come along, there's an orchard. And because you're so hungry, you're happy to have the opportunity to get a bag of apples from the owner of the orchard. Your first apple, it's juicy and you're enjoying the taste. And wow, this is because you've had nothing else to eat. It's really good. It's landing. Your second apple, I'm still hungry and I'm really enjoying this and it's really good now. My enthusiasm is not as it was with the first one, but yes, I'm getting used to the taste and the texture and all of that. By the fifth one, now like apples are this, is this all there is? I'm kind of like tired of eating this one apple. And so by the 10th apple, what has happened is what you were so enthusiastic about in the beginning, that wanes. The apples are still the apples. Maybe they have a different, each one is a little bit different, but the apples are still the apples. By the 10th apple, we've lost the appreciation and the taste and all of that. And that got me thinking today that in my course of when I started with my YouTube channel in August 2023, did I hit a point of the 10th apple and I was making it about the apples? So I'm talking metaphorically here. Now, when I've been looking at what do I most want to do is share the things that I know has worked for me, things that work for my clients, but come on and have a conversation, showing up is very, very key for me. And it's actually helped me step out of that fear of visibility. So some people know that. Last year I spoke about this in terms of the paradox of being in on public platforms, but I was still having this fear of visibility come up. I did break the major part of that fear last year in November, when I got to understand how the witch wound, which was, if you don't know this, please let me know if I should elaborate here. But the witch wound was playing out for me. I'm aware of past life stuff. I'm aware of things that are beyond just what we know physically. And interestingly, I had regressed to that past life of the witch trials about 17, 18 years ago. And so when that came up in a healing, I knew what had been playing out. This fear of visibility, of stepping into my gifts and my abilities as a healer, as a teacher. There used to be this feeling of dread and anxiety, and the way I can explain this is I would feel like I was going to die, and so that it would take a lot for me to move past it. I would, but it wouldn't be without that energy, and it felt very unsettling because logically there was nothing that was threatening me. And so that energy sat with me, and from the work that I do in terms of my inner transformation, and in terms of my spiritual growth, my consciousness, that part was really asking to be met and to be released. Memory, guys, past life stuff is just a deeper memory. And coming to understand that, I started to learn about the burning times, and it's been fascinating in terms of what's currently playing out in consciousness in terms of women. But that's for a whole other live. If there's interest in that, I'm happy to do that. The burning times were quite interesting. It wasn't just women who were persecuted, but men as well. And so not only did I have this deep healing during the healing session that I had with a profound healer here in South Africa, who, by the way, I chatted to him for about 15 minutes. He went off, did the healing, came back and said to me, remember those things we spoke about? Wrists we saw, neck and shoulder, hips and ankles. He had already picked those up. And I said to him, yeah, I've been having these things come up a lot. And when he started to talk to me about what came up in the healing, I could see the picture immediately. And so that part is at rest now. No longer am I feeling under threat. And now the rest is up to me in terms of moving past some of the habitual patterns, some of the habitual reactions, the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions. Now, this is what I was talking about. If you become aware of something that's playing out, which you do not want to continue with, there will come a time when the only thing keeping it in play is you. And so become aware. Number one, is the threat real? And I could see it wasn't real. I also reminded myself today, there is no danger with me coming onto camera today and speaking. There's no danger in terms of what will I say, because now I can be in the space without all of that noise and the distraction in my energy field, in my energy system, in my channel. And the rest of it is the human. Yes, there will be this like What will I do? How will it feel? And then I remember joy and laughter is going to shift a lot more than anything, than me being serious. And I have some amazing people in my life. So know who your tribe is. Find them. Community becomes so important now, but the community that is going to help you lift up all the time. We need reminders, even me. I have amazing friends who will remind me, hey, have you thought about looking at it in this way? Or that thing you said, like, what about this? And that's the reciprocity that I love with people that I connect with. So community is going to become fundamental. In fact, right now, it's fundamental in terms of how we can navigate through the times that we are in and ahead. Collaboration, co-creation, having someone that just reminds you, hey, maybe you can shift away from the story for a while and see what comes out. Get some breathing space, get some wiggle room. Again, I'll remind you, we keep that story churning. If something has happened once, if the event has happened once, we keep going back into the energy of it. So try and find ways to break it up. Try and find ways to just step out of it. If it's meditation, if it's exercise. Oh, I've been loving a particular channel. I've been doing Qigong yoga. And wow, just shifting energy. And doing this just sets up my day. 20 minutes of it. You know, we don't have to do hours on end. But it's the presence that we bring in everything that we do, moment by moment as well, that will make the difference. And whenever you're narrow focused, just remember that is the amygdala, the reptilian brain. I don't like the term, but let's say the primitive instinctual brain that is going to keep the narrow focus because of what? Danger. Where's the threat? Where do I need to fight, flight, freeze? I mean, we know a lot more about trauma responses now, but those are the things that are primitive and instinctual. And if we can actually just get this breathing room of, okay, there's no immediate threat. How and what can I do to just calm myself down? Because the prefrontal cortex the solution finding center works when you are relaxed. And so before I came on today, I was talking about my cup of tea. I'm still savoring the rooibos lavender blend. But my husband and I had supper. Now, I wouldn't have done that previously if I was about to come on live, etc., because I wasn't like I'd be anxious, etc. And we had supper together. He had been away for most of the day. We caught up, and I just came into flow and ease. And I wish that for you as well, no matter what is going on around you. And here's a reminder, if you want to know something around the chaotic times. Creation births through chaos. It is when there is chaos that the new comes into being. So, what is birthing for you? And are you going to miss it if you are looking at all of the noise out? And you can have ease in this, effortlessness, and you can have joy in this. As you keep coming, when you can keep coming back to the true self of who do I truly want to be right now, and just keep connecting to the true nature. Everything else, like I spoke about memory, the past experiences, the attitudes, the reactions, etc., is learned your true nature is infinite. Your true nature is love. Your true nature is joy. It's all of that. It's there. If I can leave you with one more analogy, if you want to know in terms of your true nature, think of it like this beautiful lamp. That's your true nature. But we come into this incarnation and into this life, and all of the experiences and the events and the things that don't feel okay, etc. Think of it like these layers got built over the light. And might look like it's a dim light right now, but the light's still there. And so we peel away the layers of all of that which isn't true for us. And that light, just even before you see it, you can feel it. You'll feel it. You'll feel you. And keep connecting back to that, to what's real and true. Okay, my friends, thank you for being on this live with me. I'm going to bid you a great Sunday, whether it's your morning, whenever you're catching this, morning, evening, or night. If there isn't anything else, and I will then say goodbye. Oh, I did have one thing I wanted to do before I sign off. We played with this last week. If anyone like some wisdom, the fool's wisdom, you want a card, let me know. I'm going to draw one for the week in terms of what you might want to take into the week. Okay, the two cards that are popping up, and I'm going to see this. The first one is the purposeful. How interesting is that? Let me just take this closer. To live purposefully. Where's your attention? Is it on target? Now this one's interesting, just upside down. The restful. And with it being upside down, the right side up says take a break. Okay. Now, looking at these cards together, the purposeful being on target, don't stop being on target. Become aware of the purpose that you are setting out with this week. Intention is everything. Become mindful. Become aware of where you are placing your attention. And don't take your eye off that. Is there anyone here that wants me to pull a card for them in terms of the fool's wisdom? And if you guys have who are watching the replay, if you want me to just tag me on here and say, yes, please give me a card from the Fool's Wisdom Oracle deck. And if that is, that's it, you guys. Nobody else is coming in to want a card. That's cool. Take care. I've got the Bountiful. Which is live in balance. Have a wonderful week ahead, you guys. I will catch you next Sunday. Take care and bye.